पावर प्लांट क्वेश्चन आंसर में आपका स्वागत है। अगर आप बीओई या बॉयलर ऑपरेटर एग्जाम या इंटरव्यू की तैयारी कर रहे हैं तो यह चैनल आपके लिए बहुत हेल्पफुल होने वाला है। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। What is a boiler as per Indian Boiler Act 1923? As per Indian Boiler Act 1923, boiler means any closed vessel exceeding 22.75 liter in capacity, which is used expressly for generating steam under pressure and includes any mounting or other fitting attached to such vessel, which is wholly or partially under pressure when steam is shut off. What are the main system of a boiler? The main system of a boiler are feed water, steam, air, flue gas, fuel handling and ash handling. What are the boiler mounting and accessories? Fittings on boiler, which are required for its safe operation, are called mountings. 1. Safety valves. 2. Gauge glass. 3. Pressure gauge. 4. Blow down valve. 5. Main steam stop valve. 6. Feed water valve. 7. Flushing plug. 8. Air vent. 9. Startup vent. 10. Manhole. The device, which are used in a boiler as an integral part and help to run the boiler efficiently, are called boiler accessories. 1. Superheater. 2. The superheater. 3. Economizer. 4. Air heater. 5. Soot blower. 6. Feed pump. 7. ID and FD fan. 8. Ash removal system. 9. Fuel supply system. 10. Dosing system. 11. Deaerator. What is natural circulation? Natural circulation is a closed circuit in which the working fluid circulate by the virtue of density difference. When does the natural circulation in a boiler stop? In some cases, forced circulation is done by adding a pump. The force causing circulation is given by F is equal to PCH1 minus PHH2, PC is equal to density of cold water, pH is equal to density of hot water, H1 is equal to water, H2 is equal to steam. What is difference between fire tube boiler and water tube boiler? In fire tube boiler, hot flue gas flows inside the tube. The tube is surrounded by feed water. Rate of steam generation is less. Chance of explosion is less, but in case of explosion the risk of damage is very high. In water tube boiler, feed water flows inside the tubes. Flue gas flows at its outer surface. Heating surface is more as compared to the fire tube boiler having same tubes. Rate of steam generation is faster in this case. Risk of damage in this case is less. What is difference between subcritical boiler and supercritical boiler? At critical pressure the density of water and steam is same. So boiler which is operated above critical pressure is called as supercritical boiler, and the one which is operated below critical pressure is called as subcritical boiler. Subcritical boiler has economizer, evaporator and superheater, but in supercritical boiler feed water from economizer is admitted to the furnace tubes at one end and superheated steam is collected from other end of the tube. There is no drum in this boiler. How is load controlled in an oil-fired boiler? Depending upon the load on the boiler, burners may be taken into service or taken out of service. Oil pressure is controlled by pressure control valve to meet variable load demand. Oil-fired boilers are very much suitable for fluctuating loads. Why is atomization of oil done? For easy burning, oil is atomized with the help of high pressure air or steam. Why is ash handling system not provided in oil and gas-fired boiler? In oil-fired boiler and gas-fired boiler does not produce ash, so ash handling system not required. What is a package boiler? In package boiler mostly liquid and gaseous fuels are used. These are small in size for easy transportation and used to meet process steam requirement in industry or hooked up with the other boilers to produce power. How is the grate of a boiler cooled? In traveling grate-fired boiler, coal is fed onto the grate which moves at the bottom portion of the furnace. The moving grate is having suitable openings to admit combustion air from the bottom of the grate. This air cools down the grate as well as ash and is used as primary air for the burning of coal. What is the function of a spreader? In spreader Stoker-fired boiler, coal is fed with the help of a rotating feeding device called feeder or spreader. It is a rotating drum having large number of blades mounted on it. When the spreader rotates, it throws coal into the furnace. Depending upon the load on the boiler, spreader speed is adjusted. How is load adjusted in a spreader Stoker-fired boiler? Depending upon the load on the boiler, spreader speed is adjusted. What are the advantages of coal pulverization? When coal is pulverized, it becomes a homogeneous powder and the exposed surface area increases. Combustion becomes faster and requires less excess air for burning. Pulverized coal burn like oil or gas, resulting in more efficient combustion. Fine coal particles are exposed to radiant heat of furnace. The volatile matter is distilled off in the form of gas and burned first and heats up the remaining carbon. Combustion takes place in the suspension spontaneously. Pulverized coal has many advantages in addition to increased thermal efficiency, such as flexibility for using wide range of coal variety, fast response of handling large quantity of fuel. What are the uses of primary, secondary and seal air in a pulverized boiler? The function of primary air system is to supply the drying agent for coal pulverization system and it is obtained from primary air power fan. The function of secondary air system is to supply air for combustion and it is obtained from forced draft FD fan. Sometimes, tertiary air is used. It is a part of secondary air which is supplied for delay combustion to reduce NOx formation. The function of seal air system is to prevent hot air and coal dust escaping from the coal mills and coal feeders into the atmosphere and prevent ingress of coal dust into gearbox lubrication oil. What are the main pressure parts of a PC boiler? The main pressure parts of a PC boiler are water circuit, economic, water wall panels or evaporator, steam circuit, primary superheater, final superheater, reheater. What are the main equipments used in coal feeding system of a PC boiler? Coal mills used in coal feeding system of a PC boiler to crush coal into a fine powder before it's burned. How is the mill outlet temperature controlled? Mill outlet temperature, such as in a coal mill, is controlled by adjusting the flow of cold and hot air into the mill. What is the size of pulverized coal in PC boiler? In pulverized coal, required fineness of coal is past 75% through 200 ms and 99.5% through 50 ms. What is the difference between volumetric feeder and gravimetric feeder? Coal feeders are divided into two categories: volumetric feeder and gravimetric feeder. Volumetric feeder discharge certain volume of coal in particular period. Feeding may become inaccurate if the bulk density varies. Volumetric type feeder are screw feeder, belt feeder, rotary feeder and vibrating feeder. The rate of feeding depends on the speed of the feeder. Gravimetric feeder relies on weighing the material to achieve a required discharge rate. It is a weight belt which measures the mass of coal per unit length of belt and is multiplied by the speed of belt to determine the rate of coal flow. As material moves along the belt, it is continuously weighed by load cell. What is the function of a classifier? Coal is ground by grinding elements in stages inside the mill. Coal particles are recirculated before achieving the required fineness. The classifier allows finer particles to escape from the mill outlet while coarse particles are returned to mill for further grinding. What is contact mill and what are its main types? Contact mills have a stationary and rotating element arrangement to have rolling action with respect to each other. Coal is passed between them again and again until the desired pulverization size is obtained. Ball mill and ball raise mill are two commonly used coal mills in PC-fired power plants. How NOx formation is controlled in coal burner? The burner consists of a central circular duct to supply coal powder and primary air to the burner mouth. Secondary air enters from wind box through secondary air port, which ensures combustion air distribution along the circumference of the burner mouth. Tertiary air enters from windbox over the secondary air port. The quantity of tertiary air is controlled in such a way so as to achieve an optimum excess air on the primary flame region in which the pulverized coal burns slowly and reduce NOx formation. What is tangentially fired boiler? In a tangentially fired boiler, 4 wind boxes are arranged, one at each corner of the furnace. Coal burners are located at different levels or elevations of the wind boxes. Coal burners are sandwiched between air nozzles or compartments. This creates a turbulent vortex motion of the fuel. Why are oil burners used in a PC boiler? For providing initial ignition energy to light up coal burner, stabilizing the flame at low loads, safe startup fuel, and for controlled heat input during light-up. What is the advantage of a AFBC boiler? FBC boiler advantages are burn fuel with higher combustion efficiency, size of the boiler is smaller as compared to Stoker-fired and Pulverised boiler, operated efficiently with variety of fuels, even fuels like washery rejects, biomass, solid waste can be burnt efficiently. Inferior quality fuel can be used in this boiler. High ash contents 62% and LGCV coal 2500 kilocalories per kilogram coal can fire. Coal containing fines below 6 mm can be burned efficiently. SOx formation can be minimized by addition of limestone or dolomite for high sulfur coal. Low combustion temperature eliminates NOx formation. How does fluidization take place and why is the bed so called? Fluidization occurs when a fluid, such as a gas or liquid, is passed upward through a bed of solid particles at a sufficient velocity, suspending them and causing them to mix and behave like a fluid. The bed is called this because, before fluidization, the particles are packed together in a stationary layer, much like a bed of sand. When the fluid velocity is increased, the upward drag force on the particles overcomes gravity, making them float, collide, and move chaotically, giving the entire mixture a liquid-like property. At what temperature does the coal burn in an AFBC boiler? In an AFBC boiler, combustion takes place at about 850 degrees Celsius to 950 degrees Celsius. This lower combustion temperature is due to effective extraction of heat from the bed through in-bed heat transfer tubes and water-cooled, fan-welded membrane wall. What is the function of air distributor plate in an FBC boiler? The function of an air distributor plate in a fluidized bed combustion boiler is to uniformly introduce fluidizing air across the entire bed of solid particles, which keeps them in constant, turbulent motion, like a fluid. This uniform air distribution ensures an efficient combustion process, promotes even heat transfer to immersed boiler tubes, and prevents the formation of stagnant zones or defluidization within the bed. Which air is used for fluidization? Atmospheric air used for fluidization through FD fan. Define air box. Air is supplied from air box, which is placed just below the distributor plate. Air from FD fan is supplied to the air box. Each compartment is having its own air box and air isolation dampers. What is the function of air nozzle? Air nozzle distribute fluidizing air from air box uniformly over the entire bed. The main function of air distributor is to introduce the fluidizing air evenly throughout the bed cross-section for keeping the solid particles in fluidized condition and prevent any defluidization zone within the bed. What is bed material? Bed material is obtained from crushed refractory bricks or sieved ash. Specification of bed material for ABC boiler is particle size 1 to 3 mm. Bulk density 1000 kg per cubic meter, alumina 45% to 35%, silica 55% to 65%, fusion temperature 1400 degrees Celsius. What is static bed layer? Mention its role. Initial bed height is maintained up to 250 mm to 300 mm. Out of this bed height, around 100 mm bed does not participate in fluidization. This layer is called as static bed layer. This static layer of the bed material protects the distributor plate from high temperature of the furnace. What do you understand by compartment? Total bed of larger size boiler is divided into compartments. Each compartment is having independent coal feeding system with its own air box and air nozzles for fluidization. Depending upon the load on the boiler, what is bed slumping and bed mixing? Normally, load variation from 70% to 100% is done by adjusting fuel feeding. Beyond that, it is preferred to stop one compartment. This is called compartment or bed slumping. Coal feeding is reduced and stopped. When bed temperature dropped to 800 degrees Celsius, stopped fluidizing air. When load on the boiler increases, it required to reactive the same compartment to take into service, required to increase bed temperature up to 600 before starting to open fluidizing air. Why is the bed of slumped compartment activated periodically? When load on the boiler increases, it required to reactive the same compartment to take into service, required to increase bed temperature up to 600 before starting fuel feeding to opening and closing of fluidizing air. Explain the fuel feeding methods adopted in FBC boiler. Crushed coal of size 6 to 8 mm is stored in the coal bunker nearer to the boiler. This coal is introduced into the fluidizing bed as per the requirement through coal feeders. Under bed pneumatic feeding and over bed feeding methods are adopted in AFBC boiler. What is the function of primary air PA in pneumatic under bed feeding method? Coal from the feeder is mixed with high pressure primary air at mixing nozzle and transported up to the coal nozzle. Coal is introduced at the bottom of the bed. Transportation of coal to the boiler furnace is done through primary air. The pipeline on which coal is transported is called as PA line. Isolation valve, cross and drain gates are provided on this line. Mention the size of coal used in an AFBC boiler. Crushed coal of size 6 to 8 mm is used in an AFBC boiler. What is the function of coal nozzle in an AFBC boiler? Coal nozzles are placed at different locations of the compartment to supply coal uniformly into the bed. Each coal nozzle is having its own coal feeder and mixing nozzle. What is the function of in-bed tubes and why is studding done in these tubes? The temperature of fluidizing bed is maintained at around 900 degrees Celsius. The bed temperature is maintained by transferring the heat of bed to the feed water quickly. For this, bed tubes are placed inside the fluidizing bed in which the boiler water flows. To minimize the erosion of bed tube, studding is made on the coil. Also, studding improves the heat transfer surface. What is bottom ash or bed ash in AFBC boiler? How does it affect the boiler operation? Normally, inferior quality coal is used in the AFBC boiler. Ash and shale percentage is more in this type of coal. After complete combustion of the fuel in the bed, larger size ash particles remain in the bed. Accumulation of this ash increases the bed height and affects the fluidization. This ash is called as bed ash or bottom ash. Why is the bed drained periodically? Accumulation of bed ash increase the bed height and affects the fluidization, so the bed drained periodically. What is meaning of LOI in ash? Loss on ignition, LOI, is a measurement of the unburnt carbon in fly ash, and it serves as an indicator of a boiler's combustion efficiency and performance. What is circulating fluidized bed? A circulating fluidized bed, CFB, boiler is where a mixture of fuel and solid particles, like sand, is suspended by a strong upward flow of air, causing it to behave like a fluid and promoting efficient combustion. Unlike bubbling fluidized beds, CFBs feature a continuous recirculation loop where fine particles separated at the top are returned to the bottom of the furnace, extending their residence time for greater fuel utilization and enhanced sulfur capture. This process allows for high fuel flexibility, operation at lower combustion temperatures, and effective control of polluting emissions. What is the function of loop seal in CFBC boiler? CFBC boiler, in the cyclone, heavier particles are separated from the gas and circulated back into the furnace through a loop seal. Loop seal is considered as the heart of a circulating fluidized bed. This is an arrangement to which feeds the solid captured by cyclone to the furnace but prevents direct flow of gas from high-pressure furnace to the low-pressure cyclone. What is the difference between hot cyclone and cold cyclone? Hot cyclone, flue gas first enters into cyclone before entering into the second pass of the boiler. Collection of solid particles take place at higher temperature. So this type of cyclone arrangement is called as hot cyclone. There are no heat transfer surface inside the boiler furnace. Other heat transfer surface like primary superheater, final superheater, economizer and air preheater are placed in the second pass. Cold cyclone, in this arrangement flue gas after leaving freeboard along with ash particles first passes over the heat transfer surface like final superheater, primary superheater, evaporator and a part of economics in the boiler and then enters into the cyclone for particle separation. Collection of solid particles take place at a lower temperature. So, this type of cyclone arrangement is called as cold cyclone. Remaining part of the economizer and the air preheater are placed after cyclone at second pass. What is a supercritical boiler? A supercritical boiler operates at pressures and temperatures above water's critical point, 225.5 kilograms per square centimeter and 374 degrees Celsius, where water and steam lose their distinct phases and become a single, dense fluid that directly converts into superheated steam. Why are supercritical boilers considered as once-through type? Supercritical boilers are considered once-through because the feed water flows through the entire circuit of the boiler, from the economizer through the heating and superheating sections and exits as steam in a single, continuous pass, without a steam drum for separation and circulation. The extremely high operating pressures in these boilers eliminate the need for a drum, as water is directly converted into a supercritical steam in one continuous flow. Which two types of wall designs are adopted in a supercritical boiler? Two types of furnace design that are adopted in supercritical boiler are spiral wall design and vertical wall ribbed tubing design. In spiral wall design, every tube is a part of all four walls. So, the difference in length between the furnace tubes are minimized and the heat pickup by individual tube is approximately the same. Upper portion of the furnace is made of vertical tubes. Vertical wall design is made of internal ribbed tubes. This type of tube promotes turbulence and keep the inside tube surface wet. Why is spiral wall design required in a SC boiler? In conventional vertical wall design, wall tubes at the center of the wall are exposed to high heat flux in comparison to the corner tubes. Fluid temperature at centrally located tube is more. This unequal temperature difference can cause severe stress on the tubes. To avoid this, spiral wall design is adopted. What is the function of intermediate header in spiral wall design? An intermediate transition header is used to make the furnace wall vertical at the upper furnace region. As the lower furnace wall tubes are at an angle, the tubes are not self-supporting. The supporting load is transmitted to the upper section of vertical tubes. What is the function of steam separator in SC boiler? In supercritical boiler, during startup the boiler is controlled similarly as a drum-type unit by having in-line steam water separator downstream of the evaporator to separate the liquid and vapor phase. What is a co-firing biomass boiler? ANS. A biomass co-firing boiler is a coal-fired boiler that has been retrofitted to combust a mixture of coal and biomass simultaneously. This process, also known as co-combustion, uses biomass. दोस्तों, अगर आपको कोई टॉपिक चाहिए या कोई खास सवाल सीरीज चाहिए तो मुझे कमेंट में जरूर बताएं। मैं अगला वीडियो उसी पर बनाऊंगा। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब और शेयर करना ना भूलें। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में।